Good morning. Good afternoon. Hi there. Welcome to another episode of the Chronically Empowered Mom podcast. I'm excited to be your host, Vicky Siciliano. And today we're going to talk about how I am a creator and how I've gone through kind of this evolution, and I am very passionate about being creative. Whether it's creating gratitude rocks or just podcasting or blogging, anywhere where I can create and get my thoughts out is a good place for me to be. Because, I didn't know that I had this ability. I just thought because I have mobility issues that, the end was near for me when I got diagnosed. I really thought that I was in a bad situation. But it never seems that there's any thing that I cannot tackle and overcome. I can always adapt, whether I can't do it your way or, there's no way for me to do it. I don't believe it. So I really found passion by pursuing what I love. So I want to share with you this evolution that's been happening over the past few months. I had a manifestation workshop, and in the last episode, 29, it was at the local library, and I was able to sit in front of an audience who came to see me and listen to my thoughts and what I had to say. And that made me feel like I was a true motivational coach. I was teaching people about manifestation, something that I do, something that I love, and I know it works. So I wanted to share my tried and true method because I know there are a lot out there. So I'm not going to go into too much on this topic. If you want, you can check out 29. You can check out my blog. There's a lot of manifestation. I will always be manifesting for the rest of my life. You want something to happen, you set the intention, and you go ahead and do it. Now, sometimes, like what this episode is about, is really being creative. You're not going to know what the actual end result is going to be. I will tell you this. I had no idea that I was going to have a passion for creating adult coloring books. It started with a gratitude journal because I wanted to create something for myself that was not out there. It wasn't in the way that I practice my gratitude every day. Starting my day in the morning, 3 things I think of that I'm grateful for, and it sets me in a positive mood for the rest of my day. You choose your happiness. So I want to be happy. I need to start out right away in the beginning of the day. And I always remember what I'm thankful for. This morning was an amazing sunrise. It was at a little after 7 o'clock when I got to the gym. And I just waited and I stayed until that sun rose. And I lit up all the clouds in the sky. Remember, there is no real beautiful sunrise without the clouds. So just remember that. You always need to have some clouds in the sky. Pretty true to life, especially for me. The things that make my life tough make it more beautiful that I can tackle it. So back to the passion, okay? We're talking about this gratitude journal that I created because I wanted to have a journal where I could do it every day and in the way that I practiced. So when I was reading reviews on Amazon for other gratitude journals that were out there, and I bought a couple of journals. I bought one for kids. I wanted to see physically what could be in my hand and what was possible. Not just looking at pictures and seeing what was online. I bought them physically. I wanted to support the authors. So I looked at them and read the reviews. Now, one of the most interesting reviews, nothing that I would have thought of because I really hadn't done this when I practiced my own gratitude, was that there are people that were looking for coloring pages. They wished that they had some coloring pages or ability to color. And I never really thought of that as something that's relaxing or something that could make you focus. I had done it before when I was younger, but I said, okay, maybe I'll learn how to draw coloring books. Not coloring books, but I needed to draw something in the gratitude journal. Remember, this is all what it was for. It was to build upon my gratitude journal and make it something that was really desired, something that I saw over and over again, people in their reviews saying. So it's okay. So I learned some YouTube videos. Now, when you learn from YouTube, a couple of things. So you have a time factor. You aren't sure when this video was produced and how relevant it could be to the technology still out there. When I used to make videos 9 years ago, in online marketing, technology was so different then, and I can't believe how it sped up so much. So I needed to find out if this was the best way to actually create the coloring books or the coloring pages. I use Canva, and I have a paid plan. My mom and I use it to do stuff to build online for my website and any kind of graphic images. So there was the ability there, but it wasn't quite there. And I knew that AI, artificial intelligence, was up and coming. It was nothing that I was familiar with. I had never used artificial intelligence to create graphics. I knew it existed. Like, there's ChatGPT, which is a lifesaver. I use it every day. And it does so much for me. Helps me answer questions, get answers to things, gives me creative ideas if I want to move forward. It actually gave me some creative ideas for a podcast title for this before I even started. Because before, when I would record my podcasts, I would put them up on Buzzsprout, which is the service that I use to host my podcasts and distribute them to all the places that you're getting this, whether it's on Apple Podcasts or on Audible, on Amazon, Spotify, wherever it is. It's coming from Buzzsprout, okay? That's shooting it out everywhere, and it keeps everything online, so it's always available. It's never dried up. So if years down the road you go, as long as I host it with them, you're going to see it's still there, okay? So anyway, that's the thing with my podcast. So I was, looking at what I could do with coloring, and it was my podcast that I'm doing now that I sat down and I said, wait a second, maybe there's more that I could do. I'm listening to people's comments and stuff, and I needed to see how far I could go with this. So I looked into AI and kept looking at my YouTube videos, and watching them, even though I was wondering if there was more stuff that I could learn or more current stuff. And there was one guy that posted a video on how to do Halloween coloring books. And forgive me, I forget his name, but he has a lot of videos, and he does stuff on KDP, which is Kindle Direct Publishing, which is the self-publishing entity for Amazon. Everybody can get up and publish a book like that, as long as you make a manuscript and get your cover up there. It's yours. So I just want to shut off my notifications because one just popped in. I hope that didn't disturb us too much. There we go. Focus on. Do not disturb. Ta-da! Okay, so I wanted to see what he had to say about creating these coloring books. He had some fantastic ideas. He was more of a designer than I was, but I wanted to get going with coloring pages for this gratitude journal of mine. And he said that he recommended this course that he was taking. I looked at the course by Katharyne Shelton, and I'm going to post a link below. I'm going to put it in the description on YouTube and also on my post for this podcast, episode 30. And it's called Imagine. And it's fantastic. I never knew there was so much to learn. There's always things that you can learn in terms of using Midjourney, which is the chosen artificial intelligence platform that I use. That you have to prompt it. You have to know exactly how to say it, what your subject is, what the composition is going to be, what elements are going to be in your image, how you're going to draw it to make sure that you have nice crisp black lines, not too much grayscaling, and just hang with me. I don't want to get too technical here because I know that this is an audio platform. Maybe you're seeing the video of me, but you're not seeing what I'm actually doing. So that's why I'm going to post it in my post for this. So there's a lot to learn. Then there's how to post it to Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing, because you have to make sure that your cover is either a bleed or a no bleed, and you need to make sure that it goes to the right edge of the page, doesn't get cut off. Then Amazon might reject it because it didn't meet a qualification. It's just always things to learn, and that's something that I really love. So when I had to start all of this with this podcast and the videos, doing it on YouTube again, I was not sure of where it was going to go. I actually just shut down my podcast capabilities recently. Not shut down my podcast, forgive me, but I shut down the AI component that Buzzsprout was giving me. It was a little too much money for me, and I don't really get any kind of kickback from this show. This is just me talking. This is very therapeutic for me, and I thank you for listening. The coloring books just kind of evolved from me wanting to learn how to create coloring pages for my gratitude journal. That's really what I wanted to do. Then I found such a love and a passion in people who are really equally passionate about it, if not more so, that I couldn't resist. I created a coloring book. It's called Inspirational Blooms. It's got floral patterns and an inspirational saying on the left side of each page. It has a separator page so you don't bleed through if you use like gel pens or markers or anything. It's just better to separate the pages for an adult coloring book. It has some inspirational sayings. Then I did another one, and now another one I'm working on. Sloths on Vacation, just because my son's teacher loves sloths, so I thought it'd be really cool for the holidays to give her a sloth coloring book. That would be so awesome. I know there are a lot of people who love sloths, and it's a great Christmas gift, so I'm not here to sell you stuff, but I want to say, this is a passion of mine, and I really wanted to go full forward with this. One thing that's on my vision board is that I want to be an Amazon bestseller again. Okay, there's some things I need to do to make that happen, but I'm committed to making it happen. I want to be an Amazon bestseller. I want to make sure that I'm producing people oh my God, no more producing people for me. I want to make sure that I'm producing things that people really, really want. Not just things that, just I love, but things that I know people are searching for, people love. Now, that's the other side of this all, is for me, I love the marketing side of it and the research side of it. And it's not because I want to get out there and sell and make $1 million. It's that I really want to understand how people think and why they buy. It's what I've always been passionate about, even since I've gone, to college. It was my major, marketing management. Then later on, I got my master's in arts management. So now I guess I'm, really producing art. And I have to market it, right? To make sure that people buy it, and I understand what they're saying in their reviews and how they are using the things that I'm making. So that's very important to me. One thing that I love about doing these coloring books, and it could be anything that I create. It could be a no content book, low content book, like a journal, which I've created, like just lined journals with a cover. It could be a log book, whatever it is, they're just repetitive pages. They're not pages that take thought on each individual page, but it's low content, and they're just easier to produce. If you do a really good job and add things to them, not just churn them out, it's going to mean more to people, and you're going to really understand how people are using them. So if you hear a little voice, it's my son downstairs. I'm recording this at about after 10 o'clock, so he's up and about. I actually moved my desk, so I'm here in the sun now. I'm not over where I used to be, and I'm loving it. I'm loving the light over here. So it's close to the stairs, so you're going to hear him downstairs, and we'll just say that's fine, because he's part of my life, and he's here in this house, and I'm happy to produce this today for you. I didn't get my podcast up yesterday. I was a little upset about that. I should have done it earlier in the week. Yesterday was Friday when I should go live, but here I am. So with this thing about creating these coloring books, I don't really have deadlines. The deadlines that I create on my own, they're self-inflicted deadlines. So that's not a bad place to be. I don't really have a boss. I'm the boss, applesauce. I'm the boss of me. And I decide how many coloring books I want to get out every day, how many I want to, market and spend the time on. I don't only just want to produce coloring books. I'd like to produce other things, but I don't want to produce another book again like I did in the past, which took a lot. It's a lot to write a book, especially a well thought out book. There are ghostwriters and stuff, but I'm not going to use AI to do that. I use artificial intelligence to really churn my own creativity. I don't use it to create stuff that is just a throwaway. I don't want to do that. People are afraid of AI, but if you use it correctly, you can really do a lot of great things. Okay? With this podcast, I'm actually going to put it up on YouTube. YouTube creates the auto text transcription for me. Then I'm going to copy that. I'm going to put it on my podcast, and I'm also going to ask artificial intelligence to clean it up for me, ChatGPT, write it in clean paragraph chunks, okay? Then I'm going to post it on my blog, on my podcast, and then I'm going to see if there's anything that I need to change. But if I didn't have that do it for me, I'd be able to do only a little bit. It helps me create so much more. One of the things about the coloring books that I love is because with artificial intelligence, you have to really be smart about how you prompt. There is no true rule book for artificial intelligence now. With programming, if you program in IT, there's a certain syntax. There's a certain way that you have to say things. Now, there is syntax in artificial intelligence. So if you want to start a prompt, you have to go /imagine and then /prompt, but you just click on the prompt. So imagine prompt. And then you put your subject and then what style that subject should be in, and you have to do a lot of research into different kinds of styles, different artists, dead or alive, ones with thick lines that you can make really good coloring books, because you need lines to color in. You don't want shading and stuff. Now, I've seen coloring books out there on the market now, even made by Crayola, and they have gray in there. Not nuts about them. I like the white space that you can make your own color. If you had gray, it would just make a darker tone of it, but I like white space. White space is always good, even in marketing, in advertising. If you have too much crammed in your eyeballs, you can't make sense of what the true message is. So I like that. And I've been coloring. I actually have my coloring book a little bit over there. I was going to show you. One of the things that is so awesome about coloring for me is that I'm able to work on my nasty hand, my poor hand, my right hand. The dexterity is going in my hand, and I have a little trouble with my right ring and my pinky finger. They curl in, if you could see. Try to, like I have to really extend harder, much harder than this I could hold all day. Yeah. So what happens is you have to hold the coloring utensil, like your pencil or crayon. And I was actually going to be getting thicker crayons or pencils in the beginning because I was having a tough time holding that pencil. I'm going to be honest with you. So usually you have this 3 grip, right? You hold your thumb, your pointer, and your middle finger. With my right hand, I was only able to hold it with like a pincer grip, like that. So my pointer and my thumb. But now I can bring them together. So just by exercising. So coloring is awesome for building your dexterity too. It helps me relax. It helps me focus and think of things that I wouldn't have thought of if I didn't have a chance to sit down. I've been coloring some books, trying out different styles and seeing what I like. And I can't say that I like to do very fine detail. It's a little tough for me, and then I go outside the lines. It's okay. It is what it is. But I want to tell you this story, and then with that, I'm going to leave you. So when I was maybe 9 or 10, okay, a little bit older than my son. He's 8. I entered a coloring contest for sunshine cookies, okay, and I wanted to really win this contest, and it was a coloring sheet. I honestly don't remember what was in this coloring sheet. It was like a a fun picture. It had a tree. It had a rainbow, a nice wide rainbow. And I don't really remember what else was on the page other than that. I'm pretty sure it was a kid and maybe something with cookies. But anyway, so I had my mom make photocopies of this page because practice makes perfect. I know, perfect practice makes perfect, right? So I wanted to do my best, and I wanted to try different colors and different techniques and making different shading. And what it ended up was that I used glitter. I had these glitter pens, and I colored my image over and over. Then I just took this glitter pen and I just added gold glitter in that rainbow, different spots and different areas that I wanted to highlight around my picture. And this picture popped. It was great. So, I entered that one in the contest and I won second place. So I don't know who entered first. Doesn't matter to me. I won. And I got a Huffy bicycle. I remember at that time. I was a tall girl. It didn't quite fit me, but it was really nice that I got a bike. Okay. So what did I do? I sold this bike for $50 and I went to the stamp store and I bought stamps. I was a big philatelist. I was a stamp collector. And I still have those first day covers, all kinds of stuff. So I bought stamps and I still have them to this day. And it was awesome. So you never know what's possible. Maybe I'll enter a coloring contest now and I'll win. I don't know. But in any event, I wanted to share that with you. As you could see my smiling face, I'm pretty happy about my coloring book creations here. And I actually should have had one here. Maybe I'll have it for next time. So many nice things that I'm creating, and they're all on Amazon. So with that said, I want you to go to Amazon, pull up my name, Vicky Siciliano, Vickie Siciliano. You can see it, where I am. And you can look up all the things that I've created. You'll end up seeing this podcast on there because it is on Audible. And you can see all of the books that I've created. You'll actually see the first book that I wrote too. So, and that was a book that was from a publisher that was physical copies. So that's not an everlasting book. With KDP, those books are print on demand. So there's no money that I had to spend for any inventory. Before, I had to hire an editor. I had to pay for inventory. I had to send them to Amazon. Had to make sure that they always had their inventory. A little trickier. So it's much better now. I love the freedom. I don't have to be anywhere. I can do it 24/7. I can upload it 24/7. Amazon KDP is great because whenever I have a problem, I call on the phone and they're there. So if I went around a little bit too much in this episode for you, I apologize, but I am really excited about what's going on. I feel that I'm going to be an Amazon bestseller, and don't know if it's going to be from my coloring books, don't know what it's going to be from, but I want that title again. I just do, and I will have it. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and please, for that coloring book course, please check the link by Katharyne Shelton, Imagine. Okay, and it's really a great course. It wasn't that much money, and it's going to last a lifetime. So with that, I wish you an awesome day, and thanks for listening. Take care.